This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, October the 19th, is a gigantic move. And this guy was one of the best boxers around when he was healthy and he was active. From 1984 to 2011, he would fight. He was the undisputed champion at cruiserweight in the late 80s and heavyweight in the early 90s, and has won the only boxer to win the undisputed title in two weight classes in the three-belt era. The real deal, Evander Holyfield. He's a four-time world heavyweight champion, having held the unified WBA, WBC, and IBF belts from 90 to 92 before losing them. He was the WBA and IBF champ in 93 and 94, and the WBA belt from 96 to 97, 1099, pardon. The IBF from 97 to 99, and the WBA 2000 2001. He won bronze at the light heavyweight division in boxing at the 84 Olympics. He turned professional at 21, moving up to cruiserweight from light heavyweight to cruiserweight, and was the first anyone in first title over Dwight Muhammad Kawhi. Holyfield would beat Ricky Parkey and Carlos de Leon to be the WBC and IBF cruiserweight champion, so he got all the belts. He moved up to heavyweight in 1988, beating Buster Douglas to claim the triple heavyweight titles, WBA, WBC, and IBF belts, and the undisputed title. He defended his title. He defended his titles three times, beating George Foreman, Larry Holmes, and someone else before Riddick Bowe would get him in '92. Holyfield regained the crown, beating Bowe in the famous Fan Man fight. And then Michael Moore shocked Holyfield to win the 94 belts before Moore himself got upset by George Foreman. He retired in '94 because of medical advice, but then a year later he was back in there and took care of Mike Tyson and got his heavyweight belts back. And of course, he was the guy who won the rematch from Tyson after Tyson decided to bite off part of Holyfield's ear. So it was huge and all that. He was born in Alabama and then moved to Atlanta. So he took bronze. Now, of course, his bronze medal was controversial because in the semifinal against New Zealand's Kevin Barry, he was disqualified for what seemed to be, he tried to get out of a clinch and then he accidentally hit Barry. Kevin Barry would win the fight, but because Kevin Barry was technically knocked out, he could not fight in the final against the Yugoslavian fighter. And the Yugoslavian fighter, I think his name was Joslovic or something, won the title. Now, the funny thing is that a lot of people thought it was controversial because of the fact that the referee who stopped it was Yugoslavian and was trying to help his fellow countrymen win the gold medal, which could happen. Anyway, Holyfield started as a light heavyweight and won his professional debut against Lionel Byron. But he decided to move up to cruiserweight, just one level below heavyweight in 1985. He seemed to be pretty well. He was given a chance for the WBA cruiserweight belt by Dwight Muhammad Kawhi. And in one of the best cruiserweight belts of the 1980s, Holyfield beat Kawhi in a 15-round split decision. So, anyway, in '87, he did give Muhammad Kawhi a rematch and KO'd him in 4 rounds. He would beat Ricky Parkey for the belt, for the IBF belt. And then, as I said, the lineal champion, Carlos de Leon, in Las Vegas, was taken out by Holyfield. After the fight, Holyfield decided to move up in weight to get the world heavyweight title off of Tyson. His first fight as a heavyweight was against Quick Tillis. And then he would take down Pinklin Thomas by KO. So Holyfield was huge. Holyfield was supposed to face Tyson for the belt in 1990. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because, of course, Tyson got KO'd by Buster Douglas in Tokyo. So, of course, it would be Holyfield versus Buster Douglas for the belt. Unfortunately, though, Buster Douglas screwed up. In October 1990, he came in the fight at 246. Buster Douglas gained too much weight after his bout with Tyson. Holyfield was in ideal shape, and Holyfield easily took care of Douglas in the third round. Holyfield was the new undefeated and undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He would beat George Foreman for the belt by unanimous decision. Foreman did okay. But Foreman lasted the whole 12 rounds. It was revealed that it was going to be Holyfield versus Tyson for the belt in 91, but because Tyson had a double whammy, it didn't happen. Tyson was injured in training, and then he was convicted for the rape of Desiree Washington and sentenced to prison. They did fight in 96 and 97, so Holyfield would have to go to Atlanta to fight Bert Cooper. It was supposed to be Francisco Daimani, but he got hurt, so Cooper did well. Bert Cooper actually shocked everyone by doing well in the third round. Unfortunately, Holyfield would beat Cooper in the 7th round. Holyfield would beat Larry Holmes in a unanimous decision. But then the trilogy, Holyfield-Bowe, would happen. It was huge. Bowe won the undisputed title in 92 with a unanimous decision. It was amazing. All that. And then his rematch with Bowe happened in November 93. And unfortunately, that was the one with the fan man. And there was a 20-minute delay. All that. And some say Holyfield used that time frame to win the belt. And he did it. So anyway, Holyfield got shocked by Michael Moore, who became the first southpaw to be the universally recognized world heavyweight champion. But he was diagnosed with a heart condition and announced it. A lot of people said that it was because of HGA use. But Holyfield, after watching a TV show hosted by preacher Benny Hinn, felt his heart heal. And he became a frequent visitor to Hinn's crusades. So Benny Hinn kind of helped Holyfield get back to it. And he did pretty well. So Holyfield and Tyson would face each other in 2 good fights. The first one in 96 was a fantastic fight. Everyone thought Tyson was going to beat Holyfield, but no. So he looked good. Holyfield but number 2 was the bite fight. And Holyfield did win the match. All that. So anyway, Holyfield would have a couple fights with Lennox Lewis. The first match was a controversial draw after 12 rounds. And Lewis dominated the fight. It was shocking. The second time around, Lewis did take down Holyfield by unanimous decision. And the thing is, all 3 judges for that Holyfield-Lewis fight were Americans. So Lewis won despite having the judges kind of against him. Holyfield would have a couple fights with John Ruiz. All that. Holyfield tried to come back after late in the 2000s, and it wasn't really that good. All that. So Holyfield kept trying to fight, but he decided to retire after 2011. So Anyway. Holyfield was to have an exhibition fight against Kevin McBride. However, the card was postponed multiple times, and the fight didn't do anything. And then Oscar De La Hoya, who was going to face Vitor Belfort, the former UFC fighter, in a boxing match, Oscar De La Hoya had COVID-19, so Holyfield decided to fight and all that. But unfortunately, Holyfield got TKO'd by Belfort, which was weird. So anyway, Holyfield lives and trains in Fayette County, Georgia. He's separated from his third wife, whom he has 2 children. So Holyfield, strange as it is, has 11 children with 6 different women. Yikes. That's weird. One of his sons, Evan, tried to follow his father's footsteps to be a boxer. And another son, Elijah, played for the University of Georgia. He actually plays for Cincinnati. I think he's on the practice squad, but he played college football in Georgia. Wow, that's nice. So Evan, still around. He's a born-again Christian, I guess, because of all the stuff with Betty Hinn. He even had a video game for the Sega Genesis, Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing. So that was huge. He even was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in the 1990 Christmas special. Weird. He was on Dancing with the Stars and took 5th place. And then Holyfield was part of a Saturday Night's Main Event thing, August 2007, against Matt Hardy. He was part of Celebrity Big Brother in 2014. And he was the first housemate to be evicted. Holyfield had a lot of issues with his finances and all that. But he makes $1 million a year because of personal appearances. So in his professional career, he was 44, 10, and 3. So at least he's on the last match of his career against Brian Nelson. So yeah, he did pretty good for himself. So he was in many pay-per-view fights. And he's still an icon of icons. So can't beat that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I did